I'm Veronique.
And I'm Sylvia.
Welcome to the High Vibes and the Mind podcast,
where multicultural moms connect.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. This is High Vibes and the Mic with Veronique and Sylvia. So today we had a really fun conversation and very insightful conversation with a guest. Her name is Courtney Nein. She's a single mom, a former financial advisor. She's a teacher and she's a self-made $1 million earner as an entrepreneur, embracing a new passion project as a financial coach. So the thing we talked about the most was how to help our kids to manage their financials, and that was really fun. So Courtney is a mom of 3 beautiful kids and 3 beautiful fur babies. She lives in Savannah, Georgia, and she has a passion for serving others, deep, diverse conversations and relationships, and living joyfully. So today, let's learn how we can help our kids manage their finance.
Oh, Courtney, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, thanks. How are you? I'm really excited to be here and hopefully add some value.
Oh yes, it's so exciting. My husband is very excited about the conversation. He wants to know all about how to help kids understand money. So let's do this. So the first question that I have is, so what inspired you to focus on teaching money skills for kids and for families?
Sure. Yeah. So I actually, in my 20s, I was a financial advisor. I got licensed and practiced for a little over a year, did all my tests and licensing and got out there, and it was just not quite for me. But I learned a ton in the industry. I really loved it. And then later, after I had my first child, my daughter, I went back to school for my master's in early education, and I taught for 6 years. So I was in the educational realm of things. And in between both of those, I loved, being and experiencing both. But I found that there is a gap between those and then parenting myself in terms of you get no handbook. Nobody tells you what to teach or what to do. But that there is nobody in the financial realm is really teaching the way that I feel like it needs to be taught, and no one in the educational system is teaching, and no one's kind of giving parents that handbook that is needed, or families that handbook that's needed to create a healthy money mindset. As well as I feel very strongly about raising value first kids and empowered kids versus entitled kids. And I think that the pendulum has kind of swung a little bit in our culture in terms of we need to give our kids everything and help them with everything, and be there from when I grew up, and it was sort of kids are seen and not heard. Bye. So I feel like there's that sort of the pendulum has gone the other way, and there needs to be that happy medium where we're really empowering our children and the next generations, as well as the parents and kind of every generation right now, in terms of how to have a really good, healthy money mindset, and how that begins from the very beginning, from 4 years old on, really.
Yeah, because there's also the side of being, or almost being afraid of talking about money, or just that. I don't want to know. I don't want to look at my numbers. I don't want to. So that makes it even harder. So once you are open to that, face that lion in front of you.
Yes, for sure. And that was another thing. Yeah, growing up, it was you don't talk about religion, politics, money, any of that. And now I think we really need to, and it's really something that needs to be addressed and taught the same way that habits in your house should be taught. And I think what I've learned is that it's being so well received from families, and making those small shifts are creating really stronger relationships between the families as well, because it's not as based on the bank of mom and dad as, or expectations. It's been really powerful to kind of be a part of it. So excited.
Yeah. And also for do you also work with couples, by the way? It's just instead of just the whole family, do you also work with just the mom and the dad? Because there is also that something that I know that can be challenging for some, because when with my husband. Like, I don't really like, I find I get triggered, or I don't know, it's like there's some friction when we decide to sit down and talk about money. And or
Yeah.
for him to say like, hey, you need to cut down on this, or like there is I feel like there's a little bit of a resistance to that, to like sitting down and having the conversation.
Oh my gosh, Sylvia, I love that you brought that up, because I think that that is so common. Like, we've been, in however we've been raised, we have all the truths and all the money mindset that has come in through the way that our surroundings, who has been influential in our life and what has been influential. And often when we're coupled off, that is not the same. And so there's like a spender, a saver, a, very different aspects. So the organization that I am a part of and licensed in is called Dinner Table Academy. And yeah, they have the 7 family money skills, but it goes so much further beyond that. So it's a matter of, we have a free community, which is incredible. I'm a single mom. I have my 3 kids. So I do a lot with single parents, and that's kind of a niche that I have, and just parents in general. Mostly because that's what I'm showing, specifically. But we have this amazing community that you can be a part of for free and come in, and they really do coach in every aspect. They show the different, and a lot of it is, it's funny because it's not, so many people think that it is about the numbers or the actual money, when most of it's more about the value system that's been created around money through childhood and through like development. And it's breaking down those sort of, those truths that you've had into seeing someone else's perspective or why it's this way. So, there is a lot that's powerful in that. And it's 100%. I do work with a lot of couples, but mostly couples of parents that are right now. Yeah. I'm most passionate about the home economy system, which is really setting up in the household for the kids that are young. And I think that's through my early education that makes the most sense.
Yes, it does. So what would be the best advice for parents when they want to teach their kids financial responsibility? Like, what would be like a number one thing for them to learn?
Sure. Yeah. So the number one thing to me is setting up a strong home economy system. And that's really, like having everything starts around the dinner table, which is why I think this is called Dinner Table Academy, because your conversations need to be together. And so it's really making the conversations about money a together thing and empowering the whole family from that point on. There are 3 E's that come with the home economy system, and it's expectations. So in any household, right, you want expectations. Like, my 3 children, they live under this house that I'm paying the bills. Like, they need to make their bed and pick up the clothes and, set the table and do different, help with the laundry. There's different expectations. And as a family, as parents, I think it's important to identify those. Like, you don't just you have chores that like you are a part of this family. We're a team. Here's what you're going to do. And then there's expenses. So that's a big one. That was a big one that when I implemented into my house made a big difference in my own budget. I give my kids a lot of expenses. And the 3rd E will be earnings, which I'll go into. You give them a lot more ways to earn, but a lot more expenses. And that's how it like flips that whole cycle from the beginning and create such empowerment. But the expenses, so my son just had to pay at the dentist. He just paid for half of his cavities. He's 7. So, when the dentist gave the bill, it was like $300 and something. I was like, you're responsible for 127 of that. And he was like, okay, and there was like this shock from the receptionist, but he was excited. He was like, okay, I know why I'm doing this. And it teaches so many different aspects or just around that one thing. If they want like hairspray, my boys wanted hairspray to make like funny puffed up hair. And I was like, that's fine. I'll pay for the haircut, but not the hairspray. Y'all are on that. So different extras. Also going out to dinner, if we go out to dinner, if they want dessert or if they want a drink or they want something that's not water, anything extra, they're covering the expenses. And so I think that that's really powerful because they're excited about it too. It gives them like this sense of value that they didn't have before. And this, like, again, that empowerment of saying, I got that, like, this is on me. And also the understanding, like, now they don't order anything but water because they don't want to pay $3.50 for a soda. So that's been helpful. And then the gigs are the way that you earn the money. And you give your children, or in your family, you set up many, many, like hundreds of gigs that they can earn. And those are brain gigs that are helping develop value in their mind. You're really trying to create, like, fill up the value bucket. Some of them are physical, like mow the lawn, maybe some of the extra bigger chores, clean out the garage, like wash the walls, clean the toilets, things like that. And you can assign a monetary amount that they can earn money. One that my kids have is run a mile, because I'm big into physical health. So if they run a mile, they earn $1. They can run a mile every day and they can earn $1 every day. And that's going to help them overall in their health. And it's also, they're seeing the compound effect of saving, and they're then able to, like, allocate their expenses. So that for parents would be my number one sort of quick tip that you can do. And you can really set up through a family meeting and start that whole process. So I think that is the number one thing. And you're going to see a difference, like, pretty immediately as you put that into practice.
I loved it.
So what age do you start doing this implementation? Because I think you said 4 years old earlier. Is it the earliest you can start? Do you think they understand already at 4?
Really, probably at 2 or 3. I have some families that start even earlier, not with all of that. So again, in this community, and I can share the information, how to be a part of the community, but the app is free. That comes with a gamifying banking app that I use with the 3 kids. All the gigs are in there. And it's free. It's amazing. It's awesome. So it started off as paid, but we got so many sponsorships that now it's a free option. But so I recommend 5 is the earliest that you start in the app, and not for your kid to necessarily have it, but for you to have them set up. But before that, there's a quarter system. So you could still, like, you're teaching them earlier with quarters. So an example is I had a client with a 3.5-year-old that we talked about, like, at the grocery store, they have Hot Wheels, right, on the strategically right by the bread or wherever. As a mom, you're like, okay. And the kid, they're like, I want that Hot Wheels. Well, the Hot Wheels is about $2, which is about 8 quarters. So having the conversation of, you can earn that Hot Wheels by adding, you have at home just like a glass jar or something that you're collecting quarters, your child's collecting quarters. And so for every good behavior, they get a quarter, and you reward their behavior. And it's not as much tied to, like, make your bed or tie your shoe or whatever. It's more like picking out the behaviors, like, wow, you did a really good job tonight getting ready for bed. I'm going to put a quarter in your jar. And same with, like, when there's a temper tantrum, I'm going to take a quarter out if this doesn't calm down soon. Like, you don't want to lose a quarter. And so you're kind of rewarding good behaviors and showing that bad behaviors are taking away from that value bucket. And then once they're up to 8, they go get that Hot Wheels, or they can go and get it doesn't have to be that, but that was like a specific example, whatever they're kind of looking towards. But you want something, even if it's maybe a $5 thing, you don't really want to go above like 8 or 10 quarters. You want to keep it to where in their mind, they don't know that the Hot Wheels cost more than the basketball or something, but you're trying to show, like, you get a reward when you earn this many. So it's really powerful from an early age. And I think that kids get really excited, and then they know they earned it.
Yeah. Because I have a huge problem at home with my daughter. She's 11 and she thinks that we own Amazon. So she goes to my computer every day and she puts stuff in the cart. And after like 5 6, she's like, Mom, did you check the cart? It's full. Can you order? So I have to go through there, and look what she really needs. I swear, Sylvia, what she really needs and what she doesn't. And it's almost every day. I think it's an Amazon addiction. So
Yeah.
I think I'm going to need to, do something in the process where she earned the money to spend on Amazon, because I told her we don't have any stock option at Amazon. It doesn't belong to it. Yeah. So this is how you would explain, the way to create a home value system, right? To be at the table. I mean, you said, be at the table, have like a family dinner or something, explain to them how is that going to work. Put that just explain to them, what's gonna happen, and then okay, let's start earning some money and do some chores, and this way you can buy what you think you need.
Yep. I think that you make a list of what are the expectations, that should be like 5 to 7 things and it can be different per child. And then the expenses that they're going to be, now take over. And I like to say that that's the extras. The extras are the expenses and that they're going to have. And then the gigs are different ways. And through this community and through the banking app, which right now is called Gravy Stack, through that app, you can pick the gigs that you want and it does everything in there for you. So like my 7-year-old has a debit card. So if he wants something from Amazon, he's going to buy it. And
Okay.
he knows, and part goes into save. You set the different jars as to like a percentage for every dollar. So I think ours is 20% goes into save, 10% goes into share. So you're teaching like giving back also. And then 70% goes into the spend part. And that really, when you're doing it early, my 15-year-old daughter now, like she doesn't even ask for money. It just like, it all flows together and she knows what she's expected to do. She knows that if she wants something extra, she better go babysit or find a way to do some gigs. And I think,
great. Yeah.
I mean, I really think exactly what you said, though. I think that the Amazon, that's part of what's happening is people, and with credit cards, we don't even see cash anymore, really, so people think that a credit card is just free money. And then the credit card providers are preying on that, especially in college students and especially in, and people are ending up in a lot of debt because we're not teaching how this all works. And even the difference in like what's a need versus a want. So something else really cool is that the community will text like conversation pieces twice a week to you to say, here's a good question to ask at the dinner table. What is the difference in a need and a want? Or what would happen if you increased your savings by this to this? And it's really cool to hear the kids start thinking in a more profound way.
Yeah. I like when you said about the jar that, they can do saving, they can also do donation. That's really make them responsible very early. I really like that because this is what's going to happen in a real life when they're going to be adults. So
exactly.
It's a good setup. I like that.
Courtney, what are some of the consequences of not teaching our kids financial responsibilities?
Amazon cart.
I mean, where to begin? I think
number one consequence.
Number one.
I really just think coming out into the world, and honestly, as a single mom, I'm just going to talk a minute on that aspect because I coach a lot of single moms. And even in marriages, sometimes if there's divorce or there's someone like being widowed, often I'm finding that people have not been taught what to do, how to handle the finances, what the bills are, what the expenses are, any of that. And I think that we all have a fiscal responsibility to like know that in our own self, so that if anything happens, we can stand on our own 2 feet and we know what to do. And I think really from an early age, it also is teaching the kids to fill up their brain, their body, their everything into this value. And a lot of it tailors like an entrepreneurial mindset from an early age in terms of like, how can you earn extra? How can I trade my value for money, which I think is really big with AI on the rise. And as much as like outsourcing is happening, how we can also raise really powerful leaders in our next generation that are going to share and give back, and be abundant and save I think too many people are living beyond their means also. So I think it helps. And the consequences are, I mean, they could go on forever, and just not having, going into debt is a huge one. And our nation is in so much debt, that's just a ripple
Yes.
effect. But I think living outside your means and just not being educated is also not saving for the next generations, knowing how to allocate the finances that you're going to need in the future. I thought that my newborn was expensive, and now my teenagers are really expensive. I think that just sort of as we keep going, those things add up, and being aware of them is huge. So, the consequences are losing your money, being, so many different things, but this is a way to prevent it.
Yeah. Or being I remember one time, or a consequence of becoming a homeless. That one time we were driving down the streets of San Francisco, and it was really bad, in this very bad neighborhood, Tenderloin. And my husband was telling my kids, you see it, if you don't, it's just a way of also to if you don't manage your money well, or if anything happens, it's not only that, right? But it's one of the reasons too that you can end up on the streets, just not knowing how to manage money and having a lot of debt. And then let's say, we have to get rid of your house, your car, your belongings. So yeah, sometimes you need that reality shock to realize you need to make changes.
Yeah. And money's the pit of so many, divorce, or so many family, when a lot of the legacy training that goes into it, when someone dies, families fall apart because there aren't these conversations and this healthy adoption of not tying, creating strong relationships that aren't financially dependent, or waiting for the gift that's coming, or things like that. I think that that's a really important thing. I think it strengthens our relationships so much to have a healthy mindset around it, and to really have that education, so that that's not looming over, sort of. And so, yeah, I just think it opens up the communication in so many ways, and avoids exactly what you said, losing everything. And mental health too. That's one of the number one contributions to mental health, is when you're nervous about finances.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It can destroy you.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind.
And why do you think it's so hard for people to understand money, and understand how to manage it? Do you think they just don't even want to look at it? Again, getting back to that, I don't want to deal with it. What is?
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't think it's hard. I just don't think it's taught. I don't think that we are given the resources, and that's why I'm super passionate about getting out here and sharing about this community, and how this can help, this gamified banking and stuff, because I think we really just don't bring it into life. And I guess one way I think I could kind of compare in a totally different thing, but bringing it back to being a single mom, I have a 13-year-old boy and a 7-year-old boy, and we just had to go out and buy baseball cups, for, to support. And I was like, whoa, there are things that come up that there's just not education on it. I don't know how to be a boy mom with certain things unless I go find the education. And so there's that training of, we haven't made it a priority, and it is a big thing that we need to be taught, or there needs to be more education about. I think as parents, we kind of rely on the school to do the educating, right? We're okay, my kids are going to learn what they need to learn at school, so I'm dependent on that. And the school isn't teaching it. So they're kind of thinking, well, this is a home thing. And I think that there is just a missing element of it's not being taught, and it's not the awareness. Once it's brought there, I think it's not going to be difficult. It's not that hard. It's just, we have to get that awareness up.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I like your system. You do that all the time, every day, with the jar and everything, because I remember when I was younger, I was around 15, and my brother was 12, 11. My mom sat us down at the table, and she had financial issues. She was a single mother. She had financial issues, and she was like, listen, kids, this is what we're going to have to cut down this year, because I cannot do it anymore. And she told us, okay, we cannot do this, we cannot do that. But to be honest with you, I think he went out. He went, up her head because she sat us down one time and told us this is not good. This is not working. So for like 2 to 3 months, we thought about it. Okay, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. But she didn't tell us after. She didn't continue not every day, but I miss at least the end of the year, continuing to say, we have financial issue, we cannot afford. And after I just forgot, and I was like, oh, yeah, I want to go out, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. I forgot. I was 15. So I think the way, you're explaining, tell them young, they need to see it, and they can save, and they can wait to buy something that we just, it's a good setup for them in their mind. And no, this month, I cannot afford it. I don't have enough in my jar, so I cannot buy something. So I really like that system for sure. Do you have like a success story or a testimonial from a family that really benefited from your teaching? Maybe they had issue before and you came in, you told them, and they were like, okay, this is great.
I mean, I feel like there have been many, and we shout them out again. I keep bringing back. So I'm not the founder of this. Like Dinner Table Academy is through Scott Donnell. He's a best-selling author. He wrote The Value Creation Kid. And it's all kind of through his academy that I've gotten licensed and learned it. And a lot of it is pretty new and being implemented. I think the biggest, I beta tested the app and since November, I guess. So, and it just launched, I think 3 weeks ago. So a couple of the people that I had beta testing, that I was in a group beta testing, have had everybody's had some amazing results that were in our group. I think one of the fun success stories that I did here, and then has also happened with my own middle child, is around birthday parties. And like one of the expenses is buying the birthday presents. And it's been a really cool experience to hear from a couple different people how that has played out and how much intrinsically it excites the child. Like, so some of those stories have been really powerful to hear, that when they show up at the birthday party, like they're so excited, and they called over, this one was at a trampoline park and called over, their friend was like, I really want them to open this present. Like, usually now you just put the presents in a pile and all the kids run off and they don't even know what the present is. They're not sure. Like, they're just like, I'm here to jump and eat cake and eat pizza. And, but instead, because they're buying the present, there's like this thought that goes into it and this excitement. And, so one of the families was sharing about, and their child was only 6 at the time, I think, and went to the trampoline park with the birthday, and was like, I really want to share. I want to give the present. I want to give the present. And the present wasn't anything like huge or extravagant or anything, but it was something that like they had picked out and they had wrapped and they had brought there. And so they went and they got the birthday boy and was like, here's the present. And just talking about that emotion though, that came along with that experience for, it was their daughter who gave this boy the present. And it like brought tears as they were even sharing it, because of how proud she was to have been a part of that. And I think that that's the kind of thing that it really does, that we will see a lot more of as this continues and as it goes on. I know I was really proud of my son when he was like excited about the fact that he's paying for cavities, or and the shock. And the shock on their faces. He just said to me in the car the other day, actually, he said, I need to video him saying it, but he said how he's literally raised hundreds of dollars at this point, some of it to pay back things like a cavity. But that also, like, he was like, well, I've made hundreds of dollars through my gigs. And that's pretty powerful as well. Over time. Granted, he has to pay for it for a lot more things, but he doesn't have a whole lot of toys because he keeps needing something else. But I think that is also powerful. Another big thing I've seen is like the amount of, especially my 7-year-old, like his work ethic has increased so much because he gets excited about what he can do, and then he's learning new skills. Like all 3 of my kids can load the dishwasher the way that mom wants it to be loaded. Not, I think, like some couples never get to that point, you know.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of skills that they're learning along the way as well that can be taught through that reward system.
Okay. So, is that something that you teach in your can you tell us a little bit about your virtual foundation workshop? Because we saw that you had that on your website. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The virtual foundations workshop, well, all of it is, the workshops are all, there's a couple different courses. I have like a printout on the community, but there's the home economy system, there's the family foundations, and the 7 family money skills are the
Okay.
main taught, and they're all virtual, and they all come with like little 5 to 10 minute videos, and then you have homework. So you print out
Oh.
like, here's an assignment with it. And that's, it is a curriculum, which is pretty cool. There has been, through the community, you can now do the home economy system as of yesterday, free, because of a big donor. A church youth group came in, and like a massive national one, and made a donation, so they felt like it was so necessary to
That's
offer
right.
that out free for a limited time. But that is it's a series of, it was a $300 course that's now free in this community. And that's kind of does the 3 E's, but it also, like, you're rating your children, you're putting them into like a different matrix of where they fall. You're taking some little quizzes. It's giving you topics to discuss and analyze and reflect. And it's all through these videos. It does like each age. So if you only have a certain age, you can look at only that part, to go through it. So that's all virtual and all through the community, which is amazing. And then I do extra coaching with families. So we get on Zoom additionally, and we dive in twice a month, as well as then Scott and some other guest speakers have it twice a month. So, and we get in, and I find those great because I feel like it's more, I'm like guiding or a facilitator and listening to everybody share their best practices, share what they've learned, tell the stories of different things that they're doing. And for me, as a single parent, it's been phenomenal because I'm learning more than probably anybody else as the coach, and getting to hear all of this in terms of like how, ooh, that's a great idea I hadn't thought of, or any of that. So that's been really great. I think the community-based aspect of it has been really powerful virtually.
And when you work with those family, how long does it take for them to, your program, to work with them, follow them, and maybe see if they have, you do like follow up? How long is your coaching program?
So the coaching is actually, we do kind of a monthly. So we have the free community. And then if people go through that and they're like, I want more, or some corporate sponsors have wanted, like, I want this for my, for my team, or I want to offer this. So then the next level is a paid community, which is, it's $250 a month. And then you're getting like the additional trainings, you're getting the one-on-one coaching calls with the family and myself, and then you're doing this group training. And there's a call about once a week that is kind of addressing a specific topic, diving in a little bit deeper, getting more personal about it. And then there's some other, I have a good friend that I do it with, and I feel like the two of us like ping different areas. So we come in, I bring in a lot of gratitude and service-based stuff, and she brings in a lot of like investment opportunity ideas. And so we kind of coach a little bit deeper in that. But it becomes a community because you get to know people from all over, so I think that part's really powerful.
Wow. Yeah, that's really, really interesting. I really like all that part. Celia, do you have another question, or because we're almost out of time?
No, I think we are good. I think we covered
No?
everything. I'm very impressed. And when you're talking about like how to get the kids involved, is there anything that just actually one more question, that they could do, any activity that they could do virtually as well? Like there is any or like a type of a game or something that they can do online that is related to the app, that they can kind of play with it for the kids who like that, which most of them are.
None of
So
them.
So as of yet, there are not. They just did a whole rehaul on the app. But with the app, there is going to be a whole department of gigs that are gamified. So that will be like, you can go in and you can do this, and they're going to be brain puzzles, or they're going to be logical, like, word puzzle type things, or coming up with like how to create a business. So, and that's the other thing in the community, we offer out different like workshops. One is for kids, like how to create a business that will earn $1,000 on a Saturday. And you go through, and that's like a couple, you would sign up additionally and take that workshop. And, that's like taking them from like the idea that you have, and then like figuring out, like, you've got to get the purpose, the profitability, like the marketing, how do you get the word out? What problem does it solve? Going through, just starting their mind on that. So virtually there are different programs that will be offered through the community to target towards kids, as well as on the app, but there's not specifically right now. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, but that's going to be great once that happens, because kids love that, to be like interacting and doing those fun things. And I think they're going to, like all these kids you're working with, I'm sure 99% of them are going to be successful kids in the future.
Oh, yeah.
So
if you have the tools, right?
Yeah. And you're learning all that. So it's just like you're ahead of the curve, and that's amazing. So
yeah.
Good
I
job.
wish I had those
Loved
tools,
it.
and somebody would have taught me, when I was younger, to be honest. I had zero. When I made my first paycheck, oh my God, disaster. I just spent it, in whatever, I think clothing or whatever. I had no skills, nothing with money.
Yes.
Nothing.
Well, and I think the self-confidence that it is creating in kids is really important in a world that mental health is one of our biggest battles right now. Like, having kids not have that intrinsic self-confidence coming through versus comparison, and when they're focused on like filling your own value bucket and seeing that work, then you're developing those skills so much earlier, I think. And that's a key element to it, that I do think these kids are going to be really successful and have an edge, because it's not even just about how to manage the money. It's really how to like be the best version of yourself. And all of that is coming through this app, through these practices that you're putting in so early.
Oh, thank you, Courtney.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? I think you're on Instagram and you have your website. We all, of course, going to put everything in the show notes. So can you tell quickly where people can find you? They want to connect.
Sure, absolutely. On Instagram, it is just my name, Courtney, and then Nein, but Nein, Courtney.Nein. And I am on there and talking all about this, sharing tips. And then also Courtney.dinnertable.com is the website that has the link to the community, and the free community has like free resources. I think the book is going to be free, Value Creation Kid, starting in a couple days. So I know that website is changing by tomorrow morning. I think right now it's got a couple updates to come, because like I said, there was a donor, so the community hasn't been free right now. I think it says, I think for the next little bit, but that will be live and we'll be ready and we'll be updated as things change, and hopefully some more donors come in and we have more options to offer free, but that's where you can find everything.
A good cause. I saw that Sylvia took some notes. So it's going to go on the website. I will also for my Amazon problem at home. Thank you very much, Courtney.
Yes.
Well, we wish you all the best. Thank you for all the information. That was really, really, we really needed that as moms with kids and the world we're living in. Thank you very much for all the information. And for you guys, we see you again next week.
All right. Thank you so much, Courtney.
Thank you so much for having me. I really loved it. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for tuning in to High Vibes and a Mic. Until next time, laugh hard, stay silly, and never forget to bring your sense of humor. Please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest.